welcome back to my channel. My name's Natalia, and in today's Marketing Monday video, I'm going to be showing you different tips on how to prep for an interview. Whether you have it in 10 minutes or you have it in, hopefully you don't have it in 10 minutes. I would be freaking out for you if you had it in 10 minutes. But you know, if you either have it today or tomorrow or sometime coming up soon, these tips are going to be able to help you get ready for it, be prepared, and just feel confident for your interview. So before we get started, I just want to say if you have not subscribed to my channel yet, I would really appreciate that. We are growing so fast, guys, and everything that you guys are doing to support me, whether you're commenting, liking, just watching my videos in general, it has really helped me grow, and I'm just so happy to keep growing with you guys and just continue making content. So thank you for all the love and support. So if you guys have not subscribed yet, just go ahead and press that little subscribe button down below, and don't forget to turn on the post notifications because I do post 2 times a week, or at least I've been trying to. All right guys, let's jump into this video because I have some great tips for you guys. All right guys, so my first tip is to do as much research as possible on the company before you interview with them. This is such an important and crucial factor because I feel like if you go into an interview and you are applying for a position and you don't know what that company does and they start asking you questions, because this has happened to me a lot of times about their company, and they ask you, so what is it about Gartner? Or what is it about, I just used Gartner because I did an interview there once. What is it about this company that you would just love to work for? And you know, tell us what you know about us. And if you only know the company name, or if you say, I actually don't know that much about you guys, that's not going to look good. That's gonna look really bad on your part. So you wanna make sure to know some of their core facts. I remember, this is from a long time ago. I think it was my first job that I applied for. I applied to Crocs, guys. Crocs, like the shoes. And my dad, he was the one who gave me this piece of advice. He said, research as much as you can and, you know, be prepared for the interview. So what did I do? I went on their fact, answer, and question page. I just looked at every single thing and I memorized it. And to this day, I still remember the employer asking me, so tell us what you know about Crocs. Like, what do you know about us as a company? And I word for word said every single fact that was on that sheet. I think it was about 10 facts. And he just sat back for a second and was like,
wow, that was the first time anyone has ever done anything like that in an interview.
And I don't know, that made me feel really good. I know it was only Crocs and it wasn't like a career position, but 1, it landed me the job, and 2, I actually impressed the employer. So don't take it to the extent of going to a company's question and answer page and memorizing everything, because you also don't want to sound like a robot either. But make sure to know enough about the company so that it impresses the person who's interviewing you, because that's really gonna leave a good impression on them, and they're definitely gonna remember you after the interview if you show them that you know about their company. My second piece of advice is not only to know about the company, but also make sure you know about the position that you're applying for. Even though the job listing may describe it as a digital marketing position or a marketing associate position, that title, marketing associate, means so many different things to so many different companies, which is why it's always such a difficult question to answer when people ask me what exactly a marketing specialist or marketing associate does, because in my company, the job description could be totally different from another company. And that is really just gonna depend on how the company wants to describe the job listing as. So make sure to go through that job listing and read every single job responsibility and duty that they are asking for. I highly urge you to make sure you know what job position you are applying for and their interpretation of that job position as well. So my third tip is to make sure you have allotted yourself enough time to get there on time and also to get there early. The clouds are going crazy right now, so the lighting's just like getting so messed up. Sorry about that, guys. It's like a sunny day and then all of a sudden it just gets super dim. Weird. Make sure you guys allot yourself enough time to get there, and not only get there, let's say if your interview is at 2 o'clock, don't get there at 2 o'clock. Make sure to get there 10, 15 minutes before. It just looks so much better if you get there before 1. And 2, you never know if you're gonna run into any traffic, if there's gonna be any accidents, or maybe you're behind a slow bus. You never know what is gonna happen. And I understand we are still in the middle of a pandemic, or hopefully close to the end of a pandemic, but nonetheless, we are still doing Zoom interviews. So even if it's something that you don't even have to leave your house, or you're gonna go to like a coffee shop to do your interview, if you don't feel comfortable doing it in your own house, make sure when you have enough time to get to the place that you're gonna do your Zoom interview at. So like I said, if you're gonna do it at a Starbucks, make sure the Starbucks isn't too noisy and that you get there at the Starbucks on time and you're connected to the internet. There's so many things that you have to account for when you're preparing for Zoom interviews as well. And then number 2, when preparing for a Zoom interview, is not only getting there on time, because I mean, if you're late to a Zoom interview, guys, really, it's on your computer. The next thing is make sure you test the links before you do it. I know it can be kind of difficult because unless the host isn't on there, then it's gonna look like it's not working regardless. But I've had it happen to me in the past where someone has sent the wrong link, and this is just for like, let's say a meeting that my company has, and somebody sends the wrong link, and then you're not on the call but other people are on the call because you got sent the wrong link. You definitely do not want that happening. You just scored your interview. You don't want to miss the opportunity because it looks like you didn't show up just because you got the wrong link. So I would definitely test the link, make sure you get the pin, make sure you have everything in place so you arrive to that interview on time, whether it's in person or over the internet, because you do not want to get there late. Funny story, for my interview, the way that I was communicating with my employer was through a recruiter, and she had sent me the address through email. So I typed in the address, you know, I was already making good time. I was gonna get there 10 minutes early, and I'm getting to the place that the address is taking me to, and I arrive and it's at an empty lot. And turns out that the recruiter had sent me something that was 1 letter off, and it completely changed the address of where I was supposed to go. So because of that, I ended up making the interview right on time instead of having that nice 10-minute getting there early. And it was just sort of embarrassing. Like, it wasn't my fault, it wasn't the recruiter's fault. It was just a bad situation. So, you know, you always want to make sure you double check those addresses, double check those links. Just make sure everything is in tip-top shape before you go ahead and set off to your interview. For my 4th tip, I highly suggest coming up with questions that you want to ask for the employers beforehand, because you know there's always that time period at the end of an interview when they go and say,
"Do you have any questions for us?"
And you're kind of just like overwhelmed because you don't want to seem like you don't know things, but they don't ask you that to make you look dumb. They ask you that sort of to challenge you, because some of the questions that you could come up with is also one of those things that leaves a great impression on them, and is like, wow, that was a great question that candidate asked, you know, like only someone who was thinking out of the box, or someone who was prepared and truly cared about this job, would ask that question. So you definitely want to come with questions prepared, whether it's about the position that you are going to be applying for, whether it's about the culture, whether it's about, I mean, you don't want to ask pay, like that's just one of those questions that you don't ask straight away unless there's like a segue into that. But make sure to have questions prepared. Also, you want to make sure that just because a job reached out to you, you want to make sure that not only you're a good fit for them, but they're a good fit for you. So you want to make sure to ask lots and lots of questions so that you know this is a place that you want to work for, and not just the other way around. Make sure to have those questions prepared, and you will feel a lot more satisfied leaving that interview knowing that you asked everything you could have asked. All right, so my 5th piece of advice is to bring tangible proof of your achievements. So the reason why I say this is not so you can show off and look and say, look at everything that I've done, but it's awesome for the employers to know what achievements you've made. You know, they want to see a candidate who stands out, and if you have great achievements, be proud of them and show them that you are capable of doing these things for other companies just as you are for their company. When I was interviewing for my job that I have currently, I'd only had my internship under my belt that really was relevant to the position that I was applying to. And being a social media intern didn't really qualify me still. You know, I wanted to show that even though my position as an intern wasn't exactly what they were looking for, I still wanted them to see that I was capable of doing things that I've never done before. What I did was I was in charge of the Pinterest at my internship. So what I did was I went to the analytics portion of the Pinterest account and I printed out during the time that I started to the time that I ended. And I printed out the analytics of the engagement that I had created and the impressions and everything that was tangible that they could see that I created an impact and created growth in. And I printed it out so that I could bring the charts to show them that I was capable of doing something that I had never done before. I had also made a very positive and big impact in that account. So really all they want to see is that you're capable of taking something and making it better. So anything that you think would show that in your work, I really recommend that you bring it in. And my sixth and final tip is to practice with a friend or coworker. I know this sounds silly because you're like, well, they're not the people who are interviewing me. But, I mean, this happens to me with YouTube all the time. I think I'm good for a video. I just do it 5 minutes before I'm about to start. And then I start saying it in front of camera. The amount of takes that I have to do for some of these videos, guys, is ridiculous. But it wouldn't happen if I had either practiced in front of a mirror or practiced in front of a friend. Luckily with YouTube, I can just edit out all the bad stuff, all the stuff that, the filler words and all that stuff. But when you're in an interview and this is the one and only impression that you're gonna leave on them, then you gotta make it count. You gotta make sure that you're putting your best self out there, and you also gotta make sure that you feel relaxed and comfortable. So by practicing with a friend or a coworker or family member, then they will also be able to give you feedback and things that you wouldn't have even thought about doing before. So I really recommend just practicing the questions that you have prepared. You know, have them ask you some interview questions so you're not stumped by some of them. So that just greatly helps and it makes you feel so much more confident and prepared for the interview to come. All right guys, that is all for my 6 tips on how to prepare for an interview. I really hope this helped you guys and helped you feel more confident and ready for this interview. If you guys had any questions that I didn't respond in this video, please leave a comment down below. I will respond to all my comments, so I'll definitely get to yours. And I just hope you guys land that job and I hope this helped. So I will see you guys next Monday.